Welcome to another epic podcast / throwback interview from me. My name is Lily Mercer and I am kind of bringing you a little bit of the backstory behind some of my interviews, plus also just making sure that you didn't miss them, because some of these interviews were really big moments in my career as an interviewer, as a journalist, and they should not be disregarded. So if this is the first time you have found yourself on this page, then I am a music journalist from London. I have interviewed most of the rappers of the past 10 years and I very much love hip hop and all its affiliated sounds. So this is a place where I kind of recap on some of my most iconic interviews, or the interviews with some of my favorite artists that I feel maybe went slightly under the radar. Now this one is funny because I kind of don't remember when I interviewed A AP Ferg, which says it must be at least 7 to 8 years ago. I must have done this on the phone, of course, because you usually remember when you interview people in real life, but when you interview someone over the phone, which is actually more common than people realise, you kind of almost just feel like you just engage with them on a really brief moment, and it almost feels like it was a surreal moment that doesn't exist, if that makes sense. So I would say that is the case with this A AP Ferg one. I believe this interview, just thinking back to when it was in my mind, this was probably just before his debut album. So I think it was around the time, this was not when he was in London as well, so this would have been before he'd even arrived at London. So this was a really great interview that, as you can probably hear, was a bit of a rushed interview when you hear by the end, because it ends quite abruptly, and that is just something that happens in the interview world. You don't always get to hear the kind of behind the scenes side of it. Here you do. So yeah, this is a very enjoyable interview for me because I love ASAP, and I think ASAP, especially at this time, were kind of like the most influential group. And I would say, Rocky is an intense, amazing star who I've been lucky enough to interview several times, but I do think that A AP Ferg is a very important member of the group too. And I do think that a couple of the songs that he had around that time that I interviewed him made him kind of one of the biggest stars in the group because of the power that they had in the clubs. Like even today in London, you'll still hear Work, you'll still hear Shabba. These are iconic songs from him. So we are going to get into my interview with A AP Ferg right now. I hope you enjoy this one. Hey, AP Ferg.
Hey.
Hey, hello and welcome to the Lily Mercer Show.
What's going on?
I'm good. I bet you've been celebrating this week.
I am celebrating. It's been a party every day.
I bet.
Every single day.
You've been having a good time?
Yep, having the time of my life.
You've been leading up to the release of Trap Lord for a few months now, so what's been the highlight of making the album?
What's been a highlight, I think, is sitting down with the mastering people and just mastering my whole album, because that's when I knew it was going to be an official album. So for you, it was like the end process. It wasn't like the kind of start. Yeah, it was like the end process. It was like I knew it was coming to an end, and that's when the butterflies started coming in my stomach because I knew this was really happening.
It's true. That's the exciting part.
Yep.
And you worked with two of my favourite groups of all time, Onyx and Bone Thugs. So what was that recording process like?
That was very legendary, because those are icons of our time that we look up to. And a lot of times people don't get to work with legends before they pass, or before they people don't get a chance to work with their legends before they die or anything like that. And these guys are still alive and we still look up to them, so it was a blessing to work with them. It's true. They're amazing guys and still so talented as well. No doubt. And they're still they still have that raw talent, and they still feel like they got a lot to prove. They're very competitive. The hunger's still there, you can hear it. Yep. And how was it working with Be Real? He's obviously a fan of OG Kush. Was he feeding you OG Kush or trying to feed you? Nah. I mean, me and Be Real, we didn't get in the studio to work together, unfortunately, but when I went to Texas on the Wiz Khalifa tour, we performed together. So, I sent my verse for him to get on. I sent the song for him to lay his verse on. And I've noticed that you're not much of a kind of drug advocate. Are you, a clean living guy? It's not that I'm a real clean, angel living guy. It's just, I got my own things or own vices that I chose to do that's different from others. And they are? And one of my vices is, creating. I just love to create. That's a pretty good vice, to be honest. Yeah. I think you could pick a lot worse. But there's some, I don't know, you could say there's some sexual vices. I think they come across on Trap Lord. Some sexual vices? Yeah, it seems to be, you're a fan of the ladies, so, maybe ladies are your vice. Oh yeah, I love head. That is definitely a good vice.
So what do you think of the heavy presence of drugs in hip-hop these days? Do you think there's too much of it?
Well, not really, because it's always been there. It's just that, you know, kids are being more blunt about it and bringing it to the surface, but not even like that necessarily. Like, it really been there, because you think about, like, back in the days with Rick James, him talking about Mary Jane and smoking weed on stage out in the public, and, you know, them guys used to do a whole bunch of coke back in the days and used to, like, give it away. Like, it's the same thing that it is today. Like, it ain't really changed.
Because I kind of feel like it's gone a little bit, it's almost like swung back to the 90s, because there was a moment where, you know, like Bone Thugs were referencing ecstasy, and, you know, there was a drug moment in the 90s, and I kind of feel it's kind of gone back to that. It's not a bad thing, you know, it's kind of almost like
like I said, it's always been there. Like, Wu-Tang used to reference and stuff. They used to say they smoke Sherm. And, like, you know, so, like, it's a whole bunch of, like, drugs. Drugs always been inspiration in the game, too, because some people claim it gives them a creative edge. You know, it's always been in the game, so I don't think it ever went anywhere.
And speaking of things that haven't gone anywhere, work is still huge. Like, were you expecting that longevity when you actually made the song?
Nah, not at all. I didn't expect anything from that song. That wasn't my favorite song. It just kind of grew into the monster it grew into because the people chose it. I would have rather chose, like, Persian Wine or Choppers on Deck. Songs like that, you know, rather than work.
Has it become a favourite song of yours to perform?
I love to perform it. Yeah,
I can imagine. I bet everyone goes crazy.
I love to perform that and Shaba.
And right now, that's a huge song, because I guess that's quite fresh to people as well. And I know that you've kind of, you know, spoken to him and he's communicated with you about it. So, would you ever consider doing a song with Shabba Ranks now?
Of course. Like, I mean, if he hears about the song, I mean, he heard about the song because he was in the video. But if he decides to send a verse in or whatever, you know, that's up to him. That's up to the Lord, you know. We just gotta wait and see.
And are there any plans for you to appear in a boat like he did in the Loverman video?
Oh, in a boat? Yeah, I definitely need to appear in a boat.
I think you should do that.
One time in my life.
One of the videos on this album, I think you should do that.
We gotta see. I gotta work that into treatment some type of way.
I wanted to talk about your response to Kendrick in the Funkmaster Flex freestyle, because that's one of the best, like, out there, probably the best. So how serious was it?
Yeah.
Were you kind of messing around, or was it, you know, a serious, like, attack?
Of course I was messing around. Lyrically, I wasn't messing around, but
no, not at all.
in all actuality, I was messing around, because that's my brother. Like TDE is our family. Now we'll never, like, cause any harm to any one of those guys. In fact, if they got into any beefs or problems, I'll be one of the first people to jump up and defend them.
Yeah, I think it was good. It showed the spirit of competition, and I like that you kind of showed that too, you know, because you could tell it wasn't, obviously, yeah, like you say, there's a relationship there and people know that.
And all that was like me joking out loud, because when we behind the scenes and we're on tour together and we're on the buses, we always joke on each other. I just did it in a rapping form in front of everybody on Flex. And
I wanted to talk about your dad, because he designed the Bad Boy logo. So were you, like, did you grow up in the hip-hop scene? Was it something you were, like, immersed in at a young age?
Yep, I was always into hip-hop because I was always around it. Like, my father introduced me to people like Puffy and Heavy D at a young age, like I was a toddler, being around these people. So music has always influenced me, influenced the way I dress, influenced the way I walk, I talk, you know, so it's always been in my life. I think I was kind of destined to do music, because no matter how many hustles I switched up to, I always was listening to music and I always could rap.
So that's cool, and that's like a really good thing that, you know, you've kind of grown up. I bet a lot of these guys are like looking at you now, maybe a bit surprised, you know, to have seen you growing up and become this. So it's exciting.
Right.
And you guys in
shout outs to Puffy, because he shouted me out on Twitter. You know, that's pretty big for, like, a person's first album. I ran into Lil Wayne yesterday. He said he loved my music. Birdman said he loved my music. So I guess I'm making a little bit of noise.
Those are some pretty impressive compliments.
Yep. Birdman shook my hand for about 5 minutes. Said, I love your music.
So you shook hands with the king of the hand rub. Wow.
Yep. The Cash Money, Young Money.
What's the best compliment you've received about the album?
The best compliment I received about the album was that it will change and mold hip-hop, and for the better, because it has the lyrical elements in it, it has creativity, and it has innovation in it. So I figure it's monumental because like not a lot of artists can like mesh all of those things together and have it still be a functional project. And I feel like if you don't like it, maybe your ears is not prepared for it yet. But yeah, like the second time around, you'll be well equipped for like my sound because I'm kind of unorthodox. You can never guess what I'm gonna do next. Like that, like I display that in each one of my songs. Like each one of my songs on my album sound completely different, and that's just my style because I get bored easy. So you know, people are used to they're used to their own like. They're just used to being boxed in and used to the same traditional things. So I like to shake things up and ruffle things up a little bit. Right?
You guys in ASAP are known for your manners. You know, you're very polite guys. Are they, you know, are manners important to you?
Manners are very important because with manners you'll get as far as you want to get. You gotta have respect in order to get respect.
So, and also you've got, you know, the well-known saying, A AP Ferg saying, talk to me nice or don't talk to me at all. So you kind of, you know, put that across in your music.
Oh, talk to me nice or don't talk to me at all. Yeah, exactly. It's like basically talk to me nice is like, yo, bring the money. Like don't talk to me at all. Like if you're gonna talk money, then talk big money. Like, or don't talk to me at all. So talk to me nice. If you talk to me nice, you're bringing the big bucks.
I hope you enjoyed the latest episode. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to like and subscribe so you can stay up to date with all the new episodes. I have many more interviews for you to check out on my page. So stay up to date and like and subscribe and follow me at Lily Mercer. I'll see you in the future.